Hey everybody, it's about 10 o'clock in the morning on a Saturday. I'm going to try to get some weeding done here before it gets too hot. So I'll show you what it looks like after we get some weeding done. So I just used my hula hoe and weeded in between the rows of my potatoes. I did have some leftover green bean seeds, so as my red potatoes really didn't come up very well, I planted green bean seeds in between these. I had extra, so I figured I planted them 2 weeks after my other green bean seeds, so that way I could have some more green beans, because I think you can never have enough of them. So I used the hula hoe just to kind of get the weeds up, and I'll let them fry a little bit in the sun. But we have some flowers here on the potatoes. So having the flowers on the potatoes is really good. That means that the plant is starting to make potatoes. That's the key part in it. I'll probably end up doing, next year, like a full whole summer video on how to plant potatoes. And literally planting potatoes is as easy as it comes. And I never realized how easy it was. You literally just plant or dig a hole and put a potato. Make sure it has an eye, so it's starting to like sprout. You see those in the store. But I bought seed potatoes last year, and I dug a hole like 8 inches, plopped it in the ground, covered it up, and let it grow. I plant the potatoes by Good Friday. So here it's still pretty chilly in April, but there's it's like surface frost at that point. The ground is it's not really frozen anymore. So at least the ground is workable, and they're more of a cold weather crop too, so they don't like the super, super hot heat. So really, I didn't realize how easy it was. You put the potato in the hole, you let it grow into this bush, it grows a flower, it makes potatoes, and the potatoes grow out. They don't grow like down. So really, like the mounding, when people say you have to mound potatoes, it's really just if you see potatoes popping out of the ground, you just want to cover them up with a little dirt. So at this point, now that I've got flowers started on my whites, I do have one on my reds. See, the red potatoes have purple flowers, and the white potatoes have white flowers. I found that out last year when I had a really, really, really good crop. So that was really cool to learn too. And at this point, I'll just keep peeking at the bottom of the plants, because you can't let the potato get sunlight, because it'll turn green, and green potatoes are toxic. You can't eat green potatoes. So I'll just keep an eye on them, and I will watch for potato bugs. So getting a little eaten there, but so far so good. And yeah, those are my potatoes so far. So this is my hula hoe. Figured I'd figure out how to get some videos to show you that. I have a tripod coming, waiting for Amazon to deliver it. But they're real easy to use. Let's start from this end so you can actually see it. Oh, this made my whole world go round. Now that the plants are getting a little bigger, it's getting a little bit harder to get around them. And if you can keep up on the weeds for the majority of the summer, at some point they just get so big that you don't really need to weed much anymore. Just when the plants are little and they need the nutrients, instead of the weeds taking everything. I planted these about a foot apart. I mean, it's all what you're comfortable with. Some stuff says to do it 2 feet apart, 18 inches apart. I just wanted to pack in as much as I could in here this year. So I did most everything about a foot apart except for my tomatoes and my potatoes. I also wanted to do a temperature comparison between this thermometer that's on the side of my garage, and it's always in the shade. So it's about 11 o'clock and it's 80 degrees. There's a pretty good amount of wind here in the shade. See, I have a cornfield on one side of me. Oh, there's my husband making picnic tables. And then I have a regular field on the other side. Back there's owned by our town, and there's some soccer fields and softball fields behind me. So it's almost like a little wind tunnel. Like, here's my garage, and this stuff is all pretty shady. This is about as much sun as it's gonna get. The sun's almost at its highest. So I just have really shady plants here because they never get absolute direct sunlight. Hostas are good. I mean, you can see that I've got ferns here. Ferns grow here. I have a bleeding heart, some astilbe, and at the end I just have mint. Mint is pretty invasive, so it just grows pretty much everywhere. So I just put it in a spot. We put the patio pavers to kind of hold stuff into. The rain kind of comes off the roof here, and I just tried to make it look decent. But I mean, we're 40-50 feet from my house, so it gets pretty windy right here. And here's the thermometer that's inside my garden. So it's a little, well, 95 degrees or so. So a 15-degree difference, that's a big difference too. And it is in the direct sun all day long. My garden starts getting sun as soon as the sun rises, it starts getting sun. This tree right here, I've noticed, has gotten a lot bigger. So early in the morning, this part is like a tiny bit shady, but by about 8 o'clock, it's usually full sun until, well, you saw my last video about 6 o'clock. It was almost 6 o'clock, and the potatoes were just starting to get shady. So that's a long time. And this direction is the east, and this is facing the south. There's my apple tree over there. I'll talk about my apple tree too. And then this is the west. So the sun sets over there. I have some bushes on this side. There are lots of flowery bushes, and they attract so many bees, which is wonderful. I can tell where the old garden was. I am friends with the children of the people that built this house. Actually, they bought this house from, and there's these humps in the yard, and I could never figure out what the humps were. It drives my husband crazy trying to mow the lawn. I'll get a better picture of it at some point. And I asked them what the humps were, and they told me it was the garden. Their mom had this huge garden, so my garden is inside it. And then just past the apple tree, about 20 feet past the apple tree, is a hump. And that's where the garden was inside. And it runs all the way along to the back of the garage here, to the corner where that little shed is, and then comes back over. So the edge of my garden, where the door is where the edge was. So that is a huge garden. But back then, you definitely grew stuff and canned stuff, and that's how you lived. And I thought that was pretty awesome. I absolutely love hearing stories from the kids of how they lived here and how much they enjoyed living here. We have just under 2 acres. I think it's 1.81 acres. So just past the propane tank there. And it goes all the way to the tree line. So we have a fair amount of property. It's perfect for us. I love it. It's just enough. It's not too much. You know, we both work full time, so we have to take care of all of this too. So, and that's my temperature difference. All right, well, it's almost noontime, and it's getting really hot to be out here. So I got half of it done. That hula hoe really makes a big difference. It really makes light work of it, even though you're baking in the sun. So I have nice, neat rows. Really like them. This week while I'm on vacation, I gotta clip all the grass around the fence, so that'll be one of my projects. Actually, I have the kids help too, against what they would really like to be doing. But here's some nice weeded rows. I'll let the weeds bake in the sun for a while. It's really, really hot today, so I know I'll be watering a lot. Alrighty, so thank you for watching. I'll see you on the next video.